Hi, Hayden.
Well, welcome everyone for this fairly miserable day here in Melbourne, where sort of winter is upon us. I know that we're all coming in from different places, but it's definitely hitting that hibernation weather for us here. And welcome to week 4. So things are going to be a bit more fun and fast paced from here onwards. So I will put a bit of a warning that it'll be less of me talking today and more of you guys doing as of last week. So you guys had a bit of homework to do in the 2 weeks where we haven't hung out. How's everyone going? How did they find the homework tasks? I'm just going to pick at random here. Stephen, how did your group go? Hello?
Stephen's like, no.
That's fine. What about you, Caitlin? How did your team go with the homework task?
We went pretty well. We met up a couple times, once last week and then yesterday morning as well, just to run through all of the ideas. And yeah, I think it was really helpful because we already had our list of stakeholders mapped out, and then we gave us some time to think about what their pains were and what they do on a daily basis, and yeah, how can we support them to get that done more efficiently or more effectively, or feel more informed.
Awesome. Thank you. In the interest of time, I'll move on and not torture everyone back past lunch. Obviously, if you're still eating your lunch, please go for it. Cameras off are fine. Although when you can, please come off camera, because I do get a bit lonely sitting and staring at a whole bunch of black screens, and Kay is probably sick of seeing my face because she sees it a bit too often. So we're in workshop 4 this week. So this is all about ideation. So firstly, what is ideation? How to diverge and converge. We've got some prioritization, and we're going to introduce you guys to a concept that you may have heard before, the co-creation canvas. It's very similar to what's known as a business model canvas, but we'll delve into what that is and what that looks like in the next couple of slides. So a few dates to remember. As we all know, we're at workshop 4 now. We're sort of we're inching a bit more closer towards the end of the finish line of the pitch workshop and your showcases. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about what that looks like and how we're going to start to guide you through the process and kind of get you guys ready for your virtual showcase, which is not too far away now. So we have reached, congratulations guys, you have now reached the second part. You got the second double diamond. You've gone through phase 1. So you've gone through your research, you've developed your insights, you start to frame your problems and your how might we challenges. And now we're going to go into the second diamond, that first half of ideation, and what that actually means today. So a quote from Einstein: if at first the idea is not absurd, then there is no hope for it. And that's sort of the theme of this workshop today. Sky's the limit. There are no stupid answers. There are no stupid solutions. So just bear that at the back of your minds when you're contributing today. There is no silly answer. Really just dig deep into that inner child and get creative with today's session, because it's meant to be a lot of fun. So zooming in onto how to ideate. So you can see that the second part of that double diamond is broken up into ideate and evaluate and prototype. So ideation, as the name suggests, is about creating as many solutions as possible. It's all about choice. We're really going out. It's about volume and it's about quantity as opposed to quality. And don't worry, the quality aspect of generating ideas is not missed at all. There is a refined process that goes on post ideation to really evaluate your ideas. But today is all about getting all your thoughts onto paper and creating as much volume of ideas as possible without judging yourself. So going into that divergent phase of creating ideas and how to ideate, how does one go out and diverge? So face value. So assess the problem as what assess your challenges as they are. So, you know, try not to read in between the lines too much. Try not to overanalyze or overcomplicate your challenge statements. When you guys are looking to create solutions to your challenges, really just rapid responses by how you're interpreting the problem is fine. You don't want to spend too much time analyzing your solution. So reducing complexity, so creating ideas with low levels of complexity by allowing no time for incubation. So what that really means is, as I said, really putting pen to paper, really generating a high volume of ideas without sort of stopping and thinking, oh, wait a minute, that's a stupid idea. Oh, wait, let me go and rewrite that. There will be time for this later in the process. It seems a bit chaotic, but there is method to this madness. And that ties in really well to this rapid response, which I have mentioned as I've gone through this. So as I've mentioned, we're going to be ideating today, and there is a process and a framework around refining. And when I mean refining, we're going into that sort of converge, which will start that process today. So how do you then decide, after you've created a high volume of solutions or ideas to your challenges, of ways of solving it, how do you then start to refine, and what does that look like? So ways that kind of help you pick a solution over others is, what idea puts fire in your belly? It sounds a bit stupid at first, like, what do you mean, what ideas put fire in your belly? But what gets you excited? What solutions have you jotted down that really are novel or different in their nature and are unconventional? So that ties in with the second point. So which of them are most out of the box and innovative? The first point is sort of, what are you most passionate about? What really makes you want to jump to action? Which ties into the stuff that you guys were doing in the previous weeks about creating your insights. So when you create your insights, it's about creating something that makes you want to take action. Similar with your solutions, which one of these solutions makes you really want to create it and sort of start to develop that idea? And this is most important, what idea meets the demands of your how might we question and supporting insight? So yes, we want sexy ideas, we want novel ideas, we want fiery ideas, but are they solving what you're going out to solve, which is most important. As I've mentioned throughout this design process, the whole purpose is your user and your customer. It needs to be people focused and tailored to the needs and wants of the people you're designing for. If there's anything you leave the Smart Seeds course from, it's that. You are designing to ensure that your solutions are fit for purpose. And as designers or solutions and problem thinkers in the room, we're sort of like the people with the magic wand. Our duty and purpose is to make sure that we're designing to ensure that voices are heard, and that you're creating solutions and the voices that are tailored to the needs and wants of the people, and their voices are amplified through that process. That's kind of how I like to think of our jobs. So this ideation process is a combination of fast and slow thinking. So what does that mean? So fast thinking is rapid ideation, as I mentioned. It allows for you to just go hard, you assess the problem at face value, there is no complexity at all. You're really going for that sort of reflex response to your challenges, you know, getting as many thoughts to paper as you possibly can. Slow thinking, on the other hand, when you start to converge, and when you start to assess your ideas and sort of put a critical lens into it, this is more of a, fast thinking is more unconscious, and slow thinking is sort of when you start to put that conscious rigor towards analyzing your ideas. So this is all about assessing your problem from all angles. Now you're starting to look at that volume of ideas that you have and start to assess them. This allows you to create ideas with high levels of complexity. There's generally, when you're assessing your ideas, there's an incubation period. You're allowing yourself to critically analyze your solutions and thoughts to see if they're fit for purpose. So I'm whizzing through this here because a lot of this is it's sort of theoretically providing you evidence to a lot of stuff that is quite natural to us as humans, and I think as problem solvers, but by no means do I want to insinuate that this is obvious to everyone. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to jump off mute, or if you have any examples of where you've used fast or slow thinking, please drop them in the chat. I'm going a bit faster because I want to give you guys enough time to really practice what we're talking about here. So some mindsets and behaviors to help you facilitate fast and slow thinking. So similar to the innovation mindsets and behaviors that we touched on a couple of weeks ago, but deferring judgment. So allowing yourself to really, and it's harder than it seems, allowing yourself to really put pen to paper and say that answer, no matter how stupid it sounds, or, you know, suggesting the most crazy answer. I think we sometimes judge ourselves being professionals very easily. And so just allowing yourself to go out there and say what you need to say. Building on the ideas of others. So someone else might suggest something, and how can you build on that to create a robust solution? Encouraging wild ideas, as I've mentioned. Going for quantity, as I've mentioned numerous times. One conversation at a time, and this allows you to kind of build on the ideas of others and ensures psychological safety as well. We want to ensure that everyone feels comfortable and safe when they're contributing their ideas, and no one sort of feels disrespected for contributing, or you know, that there is devalued in any way. And being visual. So your idea or solution does not need to just be words or paragraphs. If you are an artist, or if you enjoy drawing, if you're a mind mapper, if you're a pro clip art person, please feel free to use your skills. It doesn't have to only be text. You know, it's a blank canvas for you to ideate as you please. So please feel free to really get your paintbrushes out if that's what you really like. So we're gonna jump onto Mural. I'll just give everyone a second to bring up their Mural boards. And if you could just chuck in the chat when you're ready to go, then I can show you, I can share the first activity that we're going to be doing today. Bear with me, I'll bring our Mural board up. Cool, we're getting a couple of readies, which is good. Good to go, wonderful. Ready. Okay, we've got quite a few ready, so I'm gonna kick start. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Are you guys able to see the Mural board? Okay, cool. So we're gonna all stay in the room. We're not gonna put you in breakouts as yet, but we're all going to jump on mute after this, and we're gonna have 2 rounds of ideation. So what I would like you guys to do is, last week, you guys completed the value proposition canvas for homework with the pains customer jobs to be done. But you guys also in the session started to really refine your how might we questions. What I would like you guys to do is, with your refined how might we questions, copy the top 3 how might we questions above here. We have example how might we questions on my board, but get a post-it note and copy your top 3 how might we questions here. When you have done that, and feel free to do this while I'm talking, when you've got your 3 how might we questions up there, we're gonna have 10 minutes of rapid ideation collectively. And in those 10 minutes, I've given a series of prompts for you guys to come up with solutions for each of these enablers. And the reasons, so for example, how might we, one in my example is, how might we get people to take personal ownership of their impacts to help consumers make consistent, environmentally conscious decisions? So from a marketing perspective, what is the solution that I can develop to help me solve this how might we? From a technology perspective, what are some solutions that can help me address this to allow consumers to make environmentally conscious decisions? from a people perspective, what are some solutions that I can think of? So each Post-it note will have one solution based on the following enabler. From the process perspective, what are some solutions that I can think of that will help me address this? How might we? And the wild card is anything else you can think of. So from a wild card, it could be, we've got people, process, technology. It could be from a social or environmental perspective. What are some of solutions that I can develop? Is this making sense so far? If people could chuck their thumbs up if it's making sense. If not, I can explain further. So we've got 10 minutes to do your first round of ideation, which will happen for all three. So you've got 10 minutes to really go hard on across your top three how might we questions to generate as many solutions as possible. And it's meant to be quick, it's meant to be fast, it's not meant to be perfect. And the reason why we have these enablers are to enable that you're creating a solution for your how might we from as many lenses as possible. It enables you to have a holistic solution. And that you're kind of looking at your how might we from all perspectives. So we're going to have 2 rounds of this. We're going to have 1 round of 10 minutes in round 1, and then another round of 10 minutes for round 2. Is that clear so far? Does anyone have any questions before we go into rapid ideation? Silence will forever be taken as yes, I understand. So speak now or forever hold your peace.
Rads, just in our mural, I'm finding it hard to edit the note tabs that are already in there. It keeps moving the whole thing rather than the individual tabs, so it makes it hard to just quickly add in ideas.
Sweet. Which board are you?
Voices of the Community.
Voices of Community. Let's find where you are. So, oh, okay. I see what you mean. Bear with me one moment. I may have locked. Oh, you're saying your whole board moves? Oh, I see. Bear with me one moment, guys. I will lock that for you. Sometimes we have these layering issues. Just don't touch the board for 1 second, and I'll be able to help you.
Does anyone else on their board have the same issue? Because I can go in and fix that for you guys.
Okay. So, okay.
Yeah, I think it's common to all boards.
Yeah. Wonderful. We love
Well,
this.
in which case, maybe just ideate and put it on a notepad or something, because we don't want to hold you down for too long. And we'll go fix this in the background.
So we'll fix this in the background. We're going to run 2 rounds of ideation. If you are struggling and your board is moving like crazy, what I suggest is grab a bunch of Post-it notes and start to ideate down here, and just use the enablers for reference. I'm very sorry that you'll have to constantly go back and forth, but essentially the enablers that we have a marketing, technology, people, and process with wildcard. Ideally by round 2, our board should be fixed. It's a very quick fix, but if you are struggling, please feel free to just use the space below. It won't move. But interest of time, does anyone else have any technical difficulties or any questions before we start? Alrighty, so we're going to go into round 1 of okay, everyone ready to go? You guys are in your spaces to start ideating?
I'll start a timer on each board as we go as well.
Oh, amazing. I was going to share my screen and pop it up here so everyone I'll keep my screen on shared so everyone can see the time through my screen. So we're all going to be ideating together. So we will get started now.
Radhika, will they be breaking out in groups?
No, we're all ideating collectively
Okay.
for this session, but we can for the second round if you want to. If you, it's meant to be a silent exercise. Like you're meant to individually. Oh no, you're meant to do it as a group. Sorry, my mistake. But for the second round, we can ideate in breakout groups if it's easier for you guys.
Yep. Yep. That would be much easier.
Sorry, bear with me, guys. I'm experiencing some technical difficulties. My computer has decided that it doesn't want to work anymore. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you, but we're just seeing your desktop at the moment.
Wonderful. We love this. Okay, apologies, guys. For second round of ideation, we will break out into our breakout groups. Bear with me one moment. As my computer has decided to go on protest. For this one, guys, I strongly suggest the reason of us not ideating collectively is so that each person can, it's an individual activity to ideate, so you don't have other people's ideas influencing it for the first round. And then when we go into the second round, we'll break up into breakout groups so you can build upon each other's ideas. So it is an intentional thing. I'll pop some music on for the final 5 minutes.
Meeting is being recorded.
Two minutes to go, guys. Seeing lots of good contributions. Just under 1 minute 15 left to go, guys. 5 seconds. No pressure. Done. We are now preparing to take off. Okay. Appreciate that would have been weird having all of you guys on for 10 minutes in complete silence, but there is method to this madness. And the method to the madness is that this 10 minutes of single ideation allows you guys to really put pen to paper without judgment of other team members, to just think as an individual, what would your solution be to the problem? Now for our second round of ideation, we're going to put you guys into breakout groups. And this is where you can generate new solutions to your ideas, create more volume of ideas, or you can collectively talk through your ideas and start to build upon them. That is completely up to you guys, but you have 10 minutes to come up with a series of solutions to the same enablers and the wild card. And so we'll go through the second round. So you can choose to create more quantity. There will be another exercise where we start to prioritize all these solutions for activity 2. But we're now going to round 2, and you guys will be split into your breakout groups. So I'm gonna put a timer, but I'll also broadcast to everyone, given that you guys won't be able to see my screen. But we will be taking you into breakouts now, and I'll pop the timers on your in your boards so you know when to come back. See you on the other side. Okay, the next activity will be breakout as well.
No problems.
Recorded.
Hello, I've returned from wherever.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I think people are still coming back into the space. Bear with me. Okay. Kay, have we got everyone back yet?
Yes, it's all closed now.
Awesome. Okay. Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that 2 rounds of ideation to really, we're sort of at that solutioning point now, of starting to generate ideas to solve the how might we challenges that you guys have developed. So now we're really starting to go into that sort of starting to think about solutions and kind of solution mode. So you guys now should have 3 how might we's with a whole bunch of solutions on them. From different perspectives. So you've got marketing solutions, technology solutions, people solutions, processes solutions, and some wildcard solutions. So what we're going to do now is, we have all those ideas. Wonderful. What next? So for activity 2, you'll see an X and Y axis like so at the bottom. This is when we start to funnel our ideas. This is when I said that don't worry about the quality of your ideas, because there is method to the madness of how we evaluate them. This is a bit of the madness now. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is review your how might we questions and pick your top 2 how might we questions that you want to take forward. So this is when we start to funnel things. So you got to ask one of your how might we questions now. Just for now, you might want to revisit and tailor this later. As I mentioned, the design thinking process is iterative. So after this workshop, you might want to explore the 3rd one. But for now, pick your top 2 how might we questions and start to drag all the solutions that you have developed for those how might we questions. I wouldn't drag them, sorry, I would copy them. So you can have the existing solutions up there, but copy those post-it notes that you just developed and drag them to your respective X and Y axes. So all of your how might we one question solutions are here, all your how might we two solutions are here. And so you'll see that this axis has two measurements, so impact and effort. So what we're going to now do is from your top two how might we's, we are going to individually assess each of your solutions based on effort and impact. So is your solution, is your people solution for how might we one low effort or high effort? Is it going to create a big impact, or is it going to create, is it going to create not much impact, or is it going to create a high impact? The reason why we are doing this is we want to map out your solutions to understand where they all sit, to really understand what are some of the solutions that we can create that are high impact but low effort. So these are the quick hanging fruits that we can start to implement to get the ball rolling. You might have things that are high impact and high effort that you want to do later on as a later horizon activity. But this is a mapping out exercise to really understand what are your quick wins, what are some of the solutions that are going to create a big change that might not require too much effort or just quick wins and easy to sort of implement. So does this make sense so far? So we're going to do this for both how might we questions. I would suggest, starting with one how might we and mapping it up and then going to the next. We have 20 minutes for this exercise. So ideally spending 10 minutes on each if you can. And yes, when we talk about impact, it's about the impact to the people you're designing for. So is it going to create the impact for the customer or the user? Is it going to create a high impact for them? And the effort is, yes, to develop and deliver this solution. How much effort would it take? So those are the two axes that we're working with. Before we put you into breakout groups to really map out your solutions for these, does anyone have any questions at all?
I'll also just add, sorry if everyone could hear me furiously typing, just to the top two how might we's, also make sure you copy and paste the top two down at the bottom of your matrix, just so the whole team knows which are the top two. So decide on that first, and then go ahead and do the copy and pasting of the post-its, and then the looking at each sticky note. Is that all good?
Cool.
If so, I will just open all the breakout rooms now.
And we'll see you guys back in 20 minutes.
Hey, Haley. Hi, Jacob. I'm just going to assign you to your breakouts. Are you all good with what's going on?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I thought it started at 2, that's all.
No, you are all good. Ours probably Isaac's fault. He probably just led you astray with Perth timing.
No, it's all good.
So Jacob is in process of communities. And Haley, while I have, sorry, Amanda's also here, but I have assigned Amanda, so that's fine. Let me just pause.
Housing standard. There's a COVID one, isn't there? Have I missed one?
Post-pandemic communities.
Oops.
Hello, could you guys push me into the...
We're just about to come back, Isaac.
Oh, okay.
In about 7 seconds, so you might as well stay with us.
All right. Oh, I'm having no luck with technology today. My phone just crashed as well.
Oh no.
We should just get you a new computer, Isaac. That might be easier.
And a new phone.
Oh, all new things. Oh, my computer's like one of the drafting ones. It's meant to be good, but I think what's the issue.
We'll get you one of those big designer desktops, the one with like the gigantic fans. Will definitely work.
Big touch screen.
Yeah, just to run Zoom, because apparently that's the hardest thing for my computer to do.
Welcome back, everyone. Nice to see some smiling faces. So we're gonna have a bit of a big playback. Let me share our screen. I've realized that we've all done a lot of working today, and it's been a lot of like rushing out to breakouts. But we're gonna have a bit of a heart to heart. You guys are gonna talk to me about your feelings, how you guys going with this, and what are your ideas and dreams and hopes in context of your challenges. So team climate resilience. Can you guys talk me through how you guys found? You're gonna hear a lot of those. Sorry, you guys. How you guys found the ideation process, and if someone can come off mute and talk about how they found that, and the mapping exercises and how you guys came up with how you guys mapped your ideas. Someone like to jump off mute?
Yeah, I can pipe up.
Thanks, Chris. Go for it.
It's all right. Yeah, look, I mean, we found it was a challenge to get all the ideas down in time, but I guess it was good to try and steer our thoughts and then I guess do the diverge and converge with the three main was it how might we? Did you want me to go through anything like specifically? Or?
Yeah, like what how might we's you guys picked and how you guys sort of found mapping out your solutions.
I guess when we were doing there was a bit of overlap between the different the different ideations or items we had on the post-its. So we had to go through and sort of colour a few of those and merge a couple. But that process was good because then it sort of formed the discussion of what was important to us, and we found some common themes between the two, and even between our how might we, they sort of overlapped as well, which is good. So when we went down to 3 to the 2 in the prioritization, we actually could combine two of them.
Yeah, that's really good to hear, Chris. Sorry to interrupt. I've just kind of given you some superpowers on Zoom. So maybe you wanted to actually share your screen and show us on the prioritization screen your top 2 how might we's, because I think it's quite helpful that different people can see what different groups are doing with their how might we's. So at the bottom of your
cool.
Rad's has got it.
Sorry guys, I thought this whole time I was sharing my screen, but you guys were just staring at my face. So my apologies there. There. Does this make it easier, guys? Apologies, guys. I thought my screen was shared. All right. So these are the 2 how might we's, Chris?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Okay, so how might we? So you mentioned this sort of converging and merging of ideas, finding similarities and mapping out, and that is part and parcel of this process. So it's awesome that you guys managed to do that to kind of refine. Were there sort of any challenges kind of getting pen to paper and answering the different enablers when you guys were ideating?
No, I think we had quite a few. I think it didn't seem that difficult for us to sort of come up with the different I guess, ideas. But perhaps with more time, we could probably come up with more comprehensive ones. But maybe that's not part of the, I guess, in that part of the workshop. It's just meant to be rapid fire, isn't it? It's meant to just come whenever it comes to your head straight away. So, but yeah, look, we had plenty. I mean, yeah, we ran out of time really to try and split them up in part of the second activity. So if we had even more, I think we'd struggle.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chris. And a note to everyone that yes, this is sort of the start of you guys putting pen to paper and rapid fire. But for now, in the homework that you guys get, really encourage you guys to revisit your matrix and start to build on your ideas, because it will help you with the homework tasks that I'm going to talk to you guys about at, just towards the end of the workshop, sort of what's in store for you guys next week. But thanks so much, Chris, and climate resilience. Going into voices of communities, would someone like to, oh, this is cool. Would someone like to jump off mute and share their experiences and how do you guys find ideating and mapping out? Can you guys all see my screen, by the way?
Yep.
Yes.
Take it away, voices of communities. I guess I'm gonna have to find one of you guys and pick on you now. Let's see. Purnima, would you like to take us through what you guys came up with and how might we did you guys end up picking?
Yeah, sure. So the first how might we that we picked was how might we increase transparency in consultation so that community has trust.
Okay.
So yes, we fitted in all our ideas and we found the most impactful and the highest effort one was consulting broadly with wide variety of methods. And we had like a lot of ideas like removing government or removing government requirements and giving freedom to people, involving them, and all such kind of discussions. We also were into like including community representatives, how it will have higher impact, but it requires less of effort. And more into like engaging community leaders and yeah, building inclusivity basically.
So are you saying that for you guys, the thing that would require the highest effort and highest impact would be to consult broadly with a variety of methods, and this sort of section here is your quick wins, is that correct?
Yes, so it will have more impacts but then less efforts.
Yeah, wonderful. And how and your second how might we?
So that question is how might we include wider audience so that everyone participates? It's in our mural, the question. Why is it not being shown on your screen? Not sure though, but yeah, so the second question or like second how might we was including wider audience so that everyone participates, and we thought that the most oh no, it's moved.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so the most impactful and highest effort would be seeking feedback before a solution is designed, because mostly we find that companies are doing it like after design is done and things are sorted, and then we are reaching out to the community instead of early engagement or building like that leads to lacking trust as well and not building rapport with people. And these are our easy ones like having consultation in plain languages, community juries, and building a rapport using variety of methods, and how we can promote it to everyone using different like digital and print media, such kind of things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And how did you guys find ideating to come up? I'm just refreshing the mural because it might be a problem on my end. But how did you guys find sort of ideating and kind of looking at your challenge from different perspectives through the different enablers?
It was really useful because we all come like we have very different perceptions about our problem, and we all think a bit differently. Like this should be more important, or this will take less efforts, and then we start discussing why did you write this and what was you thinking, and then yeah, it was very good to know.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much, Purnima and Voices of Communities. Moving on to affordable housing. Before I pick on someone, I'll just refresh my mural. All right, so, whoop, bear with me, guys. Apologies. Alrighty. I think
Yeah, mural, when we're running multiple murals, it always just takes a
loves-
little bit longer. So bear with us. We're trying to run 5 or 6 murals all the time. Anyone from affordable housing want to jump in and talk about your...
we haven't had... Yep, go for it.
Sorry.
No.
Catherine here. So I might just jump in for our group. So we quite easily, I guess, reduced down to 2 how might we. So one was about how might we create an innovative model to provide a temporary housing solution for a specific cohort of group. And now another one was about using available land banks for this temporary solution. And in terms of it kind of, through all our mapping, it kind of solidified that we want to target low income earners and potentially people coming out of foster care, so young adults who are really suited for this kind of temporary housing solution before they move on to their more formalized solution, as well as we need to kind of research kind of what supply and land banks are available from the government or private developers. So they're kind of our next kind of steps going forward.
Wonderful, thanks so much. And in terms of I see that for both the solutions, you have clear outcomes and values as sort of a high value, low effort. Do you mind talking to this a bit more?
I think with anything, we need to always go back to what our purpose is and what we're trying to achieve. And I think for everyone, as a group, we want to actually create a solution that will be impactful and something that can actually be piloted and make a difference. I think that's what kind of our end game is. So being clear on our values and what we want to achieve is always going to be a good thing for us, I think.
Wonderful. Any difficulties or sort of roadblocks while going through this process, both for ideation and mapping?
I think at the beginning, the ideation of the rapid, fast thinking kind of threw us all off a bit. I think we're kind of, I guess, there's so much data and so much written about this topic. It was hard to distill it into, say, one word. But I think we have a kind of way forward.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Catherine.
No
and
worries.
affordable housing. And I'll just quickly refresh my mural again for sustainable place. Someone from Sustainable Place like to take it away? I'm going to pick on Jack Holmes.
Hi, sorry, my computer was running out of battery. I just ran to a different room. You can see the screen? Okay, great. Okay, so one of our how might we's was how might we collect and share data more publicly to maximize public good rather than for commercial benefit. And we had a bit of a continuum from really simple tools like people counters and heat maps and GIS and the sort of data that we capture from public places through to more sophisticated tools like online portals with automatically updating public information that can be downloaded and used by industry professionals or community groups to try and better understand cities and places, and then through to actively managed online presences like social media or actively managed websites for particular places that use that as a means to generate sustainable patronage and to speak to their audiences and that sort of thing. We found that most of our solutions were in a continuum from low impact, low effort to high impact, high effort. And we found it a bit of a struggle to pull things off of that continuum. but maybe there's something in the clustering of the ideas and whether they can be combined to have a higher impact, which makes them maybe not so much a quick win, but an option to like consolidate some really good things together and turn them into something that can deliver a bigger impact.
Wonderful. And that's the key purpose of this exercise. Like, it's completely okay if you find that you sort of have clusters in your solutions. It doesn't have to necessarily go against the whole graph or map accordingly per quadrant. And I guess that's the real that's the beauty of mapping things out, right? You can kind of see where things fit, where things play, to then understand how best you can kind of come up with something a bit robust, sort of like the starting of the layering of creating a holistic solution. So thank you so much, Jack. Did you want to talk us through your second How Might We?
Oh, sure. Yep. Okay. So this was more to do with industry and those who are involved in placemaking and how they can better engage community. And really, it was quite similar. There was some down the low effort, low impact option. There was signage and social media and direct messages, the sort of like one-way messaging, which moved into two-way messaging online and having virtual reality and interactive exhibits and forums where people can provide feedback through to like actually a cluster of genuine trust and understanding of the community, which encapsulated a lot of different, much more high effort impacts and probably also high risk as well. Like, they might not succeed. It's not a guarantee. Again, we're thinking, possibly thinking that some of these things could be brought together in some sort of toolkit or portal or means of making them more effective overall or more consistent.
Thanks for that, Jack. And I guess in terms of you guys navigating your solutions, mapping them out, ideating, how did your group as a collective sort of fare the process?
I think we got more done initially when we were like individually ideating, and then when it came to deciding what to prioritize, that took a lot more time.
Yeah.
So I think it was good that we separated those two. Then everyone can just get everything out there. And then the hard work starts of deciding what we want to focus on.
Cool. Thanks so much, Jack. And yeah, ideation works. This is where it's sort of the process is about sort of getting your thoughts on paper. And then, yeah, it is hard sometimes when you're ideating. It's sometimes so easy to ideate and have your thoughts and be like, "Mahaha, I'm so cool. I have all these thoughts." And then you're like, "Shit, I have a group that I need to talk to this about and see what my other group members think about this. And can we build it?" So sometimes that collaboration phase of ideation can be particularly difficult. So thanks so much, everyone. And we get to the final group of post-pandemic communities. Would someone like to jump off mute to share their thoughts and their mapping experiences and how you guys went? Haley, would you like to share?
Hi everybody. It's just loading there still.
Bear with me, guys. It's a bit laggy today.
Alrighty, so yeah, we were still sort of refining some of our how might we's. I guess during the first activity of Fast Ideation, yeah, quite a few more things came through, and then it was basically like revisiting the things we'd done last workshop and trying to do that process again while doing it. So still kind of refining that down and plotting our impacts. But yeah, essentially for the post-pandemic community solutions, we're sort of looking at how we're going to, in future pandemics or crises, sort of make our digital access more available for vulnerable communities, especially the elderly and things. Noting that, like, you know, isolation was a huge impact, access to resources, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, ours is sort of leaning towards a digital solution at the moment. We're just kind of brainstorming how that really looks on the bigger scale. So yes.
And how did you guys kind of fare through the process? Was it easy, hard for your challenge? Was it annoying?
I think something like this, it's such a large problem that it's quite difficult to narrow down. Of course, you can come at it from so many different angles. And yeah, like just when you're really getting into the ideas and stuff, we come back to the main group. So I think just like time and yeah, it's just a really big problem. It's difficult to tackle.
Thanks so much, Haley, and thanks so much everyone for your contributions. I completely appreciate that we do a lot in a short period of time, and the purpose of me being the facilitator and taking you through it is to really provide you the structure and framework to really dip your toes into it, and then in the working time between now and the next workshop. Unfortunately, these are 2-hour sessions. Usually sometimes an ideation workshop can take a whole day, but unfortunately I don't get to sing to you guys for 8 hours of the day where I can give you 4 hours of ideation. I would love to, but I don't think your bosses would be too proud of me having this random woman on your screen telling you to ideate for 4 hours. So in lieu of the fact that I can't do this for you guys, we have these 2-hour sessions. But in the time that we do have together, it's to give you a taste of the process so you guys can, in your teams, refine between the workshops, have a think about it, have that real slow ideation, you know, maybe look at things and be like, oh, that didn't quite work. What did the data say in the first workshop? Kind of revisit and refine. So I would strongly encourage you to, if you haven't started that process with your team members, to really start doing that between now and the showcase. You know, this is kind of why I really emphasized having a cadence rhythm in the first workshop. Obviously, you guys didn't know each other very well then, bit hard to plan, but now we're sort of getting into the rhythm. You guys are kind of finding your flow. Hopefully you guys can kind of set that cadence within your teams for yourselves to really set that time outside of the workshop. It is one of these workshops are very much a practical session, but they also, yeah, there is a bit of brain thinking required. It's kind of like doing a course outside of work where there's homework and stuff. So appreciate that you guys are doing incredible. These aren't easy things to solve. And another thing that to Haley's point is, naturally, as you're addressing a challenge, something to note here is we're not trying to boil the ocean. And I think this is where the narrowing phase of where we go from here onward is integral, because if you don't start to refine and pick, and that's the whole part of the human-centered design process, like based on your data, based on what your users are saying, the voices of the people that you're designing for, what is a particular avenue you can go down. And while I appreciate there are 10 ways to skin a cat, sometimes you just have to pick an avenue and test if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, which you'll find out in prototyping, you go, oh crap. Then you go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, well, we're discussing path 2. Why don't we try that now, given that we've tested the first path and it doesn't work? It is an annoying process. It can be a very frustrating process. It's a very time-consuming process. But if we don't start to kind of be narrow with our focus each iteration, you'll find yourself very overwhelmed and very confused as to what path to go. So my leaving thoughts for you guys for this session and sort of subsequent sessions is really look at your data and really try to be as, I wouldn't say specific, but try to pick a particular avenue you'd like to go down in terms of creating a solution, and really focus on creating a robust couple of solutions. So, you know, you might have solution 1 and it looks like this, and so solution 2 and it looks like that. And yeah, as opposed to trying to do multiple things at once in one solution, if that makes sense. Before I go into sort of expectations of next workshop, starting to talk about what our homework is, because that's going to take a bit of time, I want to kind of play to you a bit of the roadmap that we've got going on. I kind of want to do a temperature check. We're kind of, you know, we've had some time together. It's been nice. It's been cute. You know, I've had 4 hours of your wonderful, no, 4 times 8 hours of your wonderful time henceforth. How are you guys finding these workshops? How are you guys finding this experience? All of you come from multiple backgrounds, different experiences. Have you guys done anything like this before? How are we all feeling?
I feel all right. Been having fun. This is Isaac talking, by the way. Everything's broken on technology today, so I'm just But yeah, I found the process fun. It's been feeling very much like I'm running before I'm walking, but overall it's been a fun experience, and I've been enjoying like bouncing ideas off with people and sort of meeting new people and seeing how they tackle problems differently to myself, which has really been good.
Thanks, Isaac. Anyone else like to share sort of how they're finding the process so far?
Feels like we're back at uni.
It does
Is it
feel
better than uni though?
I was just about to say, Jack, if I had some sort of accelerator workshop like this in uni, it would have greatly assisted me in especially my last couple of subjects. I think, yeah, Rads, you're doing a great job, so keep it up. And yeah, it's very useful just to see how you can, how many different ways you can tailor your ideation, I think, on a very broad level. But yeah, I'm having fun.
Sweet. Thanks, Brody. And by no means was this a please flatter my facilitation skills, guys. I just really want to make sure that you guys are getting what you need out of it. It is the first time I went through this process. It is very daunting, and it's annoying, and it can be a bit frustrating. And you're like, "Fuck, why do I have to think about all these things?" Like, it can be quite intimidating because these topics are big topics, to Haley's point. And so a big part of the design process is to continuously narrow and iterate. And when one avenue doesn't work, you then pick another avenue. But I guess having focused on these challenges and kind of navigating through some really big, important problems, does anyone else have anything that they would like to share else before I kind of kick on?
Haneen, you jumped on camera. Do you? Sorry to pick on you if you weren't expecting to share, but would be keen to know how you're feeling so far.
No, that's all good. No, I pretty much agree with everyone else who spoke until now. It's been very interesting. At the beginning, definitely felt like we were hitting the ground running because it was very broad, and through each week we narrowed it down, which was really good. And now I think my team and I know a lot more about what we need and what kind of range of solutions we're going towards. So I've never specifically been in any kind of program like this, so it's pretty interesting, learning a lot myself. So it's good. I like it.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Haneen. Like I mentioned, this is sort of like an accelerated crash course that you probably kind of get at a uni, where it's kind of like a bit of a boot camp or kind of like a micro credential. So, but at the same time, we want it to be fun and enjoyable for you guys because these are obviously big challenges. So like I mentioned, sort of as we go on through this workshop, as your facilitator, Kay and I are always here. Happy for you guys to jump on the phone and call us if you're like, this is making no sense, I've hit a wall. I'm happy for you guys to send emails. I'm happy to meet up with you guys during the open hours that we've set up. So if there's any confusion there, we want to set you guys up for success, even though it's an ambiguous path. Also noting your challenge champions and your mentors. These are incredible resources to have. Your challenge champions naturally know everything about their subject matter experts and the challenges that you guys are designing for. So that sort of voice of experience, voice of expertise, to really inform the direction of the users you're designing for, imperative and fantastic resources to check in there. So multiple support systems are in place if you kind of feel like, what on earth is going on? I can't remember if I'm sharing my screen, but I'm going to share my screen again. And so we've gone through this mapping exercise. We've gone through sort of developing some solutions. And as I mentioned, there will be a process of refining that takes place between here and the next workshop. And this is how it's going to go down. So your homework tasks is this beautiful canvas here. Now, this canvas is called the co-creation canvas, and it's an adaptation of a highly used business tool called the business model canvas. So you would have seen this on the likes of it. And the business model canvas is an industry-wide, industry accredited and accepted way of essentially getting the fundamentals of your idea, or in the context of the business canvas, your organization, on a page. A lot of, if some of you have dealt with innovation workshops, business workshops, startup workshops, where they try to encourage new organizations with ideas to kind of flesh out the viability and the financial feasibility of their concept. The first task that they'll get them to do, which is to fill out this canvas. And what this is essentially, instead of developing a multiple page in-depth document like a business strategy, or in your case, a hardcore document outlining the multiple facets and specificities of the solution you're designing for, the aim of this co-creation canvas is very quickly, or not quickly, but very easily for you to map out the various parts of your solution on page to really test if your solution has legs. By filling this canvas out, you'll be able to see from various perspectives if your solution is holistic and it is addressing the needs and is feasible, desirable, and viable. Now, for this course, and as Smart Seeds participants, this program tends to focus on the desirable aspect of the solution. So I don't want you guys to freak out when you see cost structure and revenue streams, feasibility. The reason why I've included this in your canvas is to give you an idea of how you would be designing your solution in the real world if you were to take your solution to market, and such as the Shark Tank and the like. However, for the purposes of this workshop and the purposes of this program, we're really going to be narrowing down on this desirability aspect. And that desirable, if you remember the three in workshop 1 or 2, I can't remember, I showed you 3 lenses that comprise where innovation is the sweet spot. And that was feasible, desirable, and viable. So feasible is, does the organization have the capacity to make your solution happen? Is it within the remit? Can they do it? Desirable, is it the wants and needs of your users? Hence the focus on really designing for your users and your customers, and the stakeholder groups that you're designing for. And viable, is it a financially viable solution? Is this something that can happen? What are the cost structures that need to be in place to make that solution happen? A very high level. So as your homework task, you'll see on your boards that I have popped 2 canvases here. So this is when the narrowing starts to get hardcore narrow. So based on your mapping, ideally it would be the high impact, low effort solutions, but entirely up to you. That's how I would address this. But you pick 2 solutions, and both solutions have to be from each How Might We. So each of these cards should be 1 solution, right? So to make it clear, you'd be picking 1 Post-it note from each How Might We as a solution to address. Does that make sense so far, guys? So each solution will then be converted into filling this canvas. So if your chosen solution, you're essentially testing if that chosen solution has enough legs to be mapped out at the value proposition canvas. Now, when you fill out this canvas, start with the desirability. That is your main focus. What is the value of delivering the solution? What are the channels you would use to make the solution come to life? What are the top 3 problems that your customers are facing that your solution is aiming to solve for? What is your high level concept? What are some of the key metrics? Once you've done that, then start to dabble in these kind of areas, but not to a lot of detail. Answer it to the best of your abilities, but one thing I would like to really stress out is it's the desirability quadrant that we're really looking for you guys to really nut out. So you'd be doing this for 2 of your Post-it notes for each How Might We. Now, I'll pause there. So you might find that you get halfway through 1 Post-it note and you're mapping it out, and you're like, you know what, now that I've really just started to map it out to this degree, it doesn't have legs. Let's scrap it. Let's find another Post-it note. So if you find yourself going through that process, don't be scared. Completely natural, because this is how you're starting to really deep dive into the feasibility of your solution and if it's really going to work. Now, the reason why we're going to be doing this is because in your pitch workshop next week, is it next week? Yes. In your pitch workshop
pivot workshop.
Sorry, pivot workshop. Sorry, too many P's in these workshops. We are going in this pivot workshop. You guys are going to be presenting your completed canvases to the best of your abilities to a series of pivot coaches. So let me explain that in a bit of detail for you guys. So you are going to have, oh, no, that's not what we want, is it? Bear with me, guys. Sorry, my computer has decided to be annoying. Apologies. Bear with me. Okay, we are back. So you have Michelle Kramer from our
I can't see your screen yet, Rads.
Hey guys, apologies. Today is not my day with technology. So essentially, your filled out canvases will be evaluated by a series of pivot coaches. And the purpose of these pivot coaches is for you to play back your ideas to people who dealt with this in the real world, have experiences with creating solutions, you know, taking solutions from concept to the real world. And you have you'll have to present your canvas as a brief to these coaches. So you'll have 30 seconds to talk about what's your challenge. So it's a 20-minute, sorry, let me take a step back before I freak you guys out. You have 3 rounds of presenting your pitches. Each round will be 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, you'll be taking them through what your challenge is, what your key insights were from the data that you guys have obtained, your how might we, who are your customers and community, what is your solution, and how does it address the problem, how the solution works. So point 5 is essentially you showcasing that canvas that I just spoke you through. So up until point 5, you're kind of providing context of your problem. This is point 1 to point 4 is kind of you playing back concisely your data, your research, your top insights, all that hard work that you've done up until now. Point 5 of how your solution works is you're aiming to address that through filling in those pitch canvases that I just discussed. And you'll ask your pivot coaches for feedback, and you will then have rounds of this. So you might present your solution to challenge 1 in 1 round, then you might present your solution to challenge 2 in the 2nd round, and there'll be a 3rd round where you can pick which solution you would like to replay again to then get a 2nd round of feedback. So how it will work is you'll have round 1, then you'll have round 2, then we'll give you guys some time to refine as a group your solutions. You might want to use that time to fix up both your solutions. You might want to use that time to fix up one of your solutions based on the feedback. And then you get a 3rd round to really play back your refined solution to the judges. So there'll be 3 rounds in your pivot workshop. Is that starting to make sense? Now, in those 20 minutes, the world is your oyster. You might want to be super ambitious and play back both your solutions in that 20 minutes. I don't know if you'll find the time to do that, but if you're some whiz-bang person that can play back, feel free to. The time, how you use that time with them is up to you, but you have to obviously play back your challenge and your solution to your challenge and your sort of how you got there and your key insights and etc. And we'll be emailing this to you guys after this workshop, so you kind of understand how the pivot workshop is going to work next week. Just a bit on that. So let me bring back my board for you guys. So can you guys see my screen? How you'll be capturing your feedback when they go through it.
Sorry, Rads, we can see the PowerPoint, not the real world.
Unfortunate. Okay, bear with me. Today is not my. Okay, So if I share my screen 5th time, how you'll be capturing that feedback, and I'll go, can you guys all see my screen? It's the mural board, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. How you guys will be capturing that is through a rose, thorn, and bud framework, which I will go into detail on workshop 5. You don't need to worry, but just so you understand, so you can prepare your canvases accordingly. When you play back your canvases, your insights, when you play back let me do that in order. When you play back your challenge, you play back your research and insights, you play back your solution and your value proposition, your co-creation canvas that kind of articulates the details of your solution. Your pivot coaches will then provide you some feedback in those 20-minute rounds, right? So a way that we've kind of helped you to guide you to filter the feedback and collect the feedback in a way that helps you enact change and refine faster is through this rose, thorn, and bud framework. And essentially the rose is the space here where you can capture the positive stuff that your pivot coach has said, all the good things that they've mentioned about your solution, things that are positive, things that need to be maintained in the solution. The thorns are areas or gaps that they've identified that you need to explore further to make your solution a bit more robust. And the buds are new opportunities or unexplored areas or different perspectives of your solution you might not have considered that they've pointed out that you might want to bring into your solution. As I've mentioned, I will talk to this in more detail in Pivot next week, but it kind of gives you an idea of what you're shooting for and why we kind of need this canvas filled out between now and next week. Please don't be too intimidated by cost structure and revenue streams and such. Your pivot coaches know that they understand this process. They understand that we're designing for the more desirable category. So don't be alarmed. Your coaches have an understanding of sort of how deep you're taking this solution. So beware that the coaches will challenge your solution and insights and really test you to how much you've really thought about your solution and creative ways for you guys to tackle that. So, please don't be too disheartened if they, pick up gaps and stuff. They're just doing their job and it's part of the iteration process. So by no means are they trying to set your baby on fire. They're just trying to help you think of different perspectives of how to address it. I have spoken for 20 minutes straight. So in this 9 minutes, does anyone have any questions or concerns or, is anything not clear at all?
So Radhika, Purnima here. I just needed to know, so next week we just need to fill the desirable, that like these 1, 6, 2, 4, that column?
2, 6, yes, 1 and 7 are the ones you fill out in the most detail. I do strongly suggest you fill out the other parts of the canvas as well to the best of your abilities. Obviously, if like revenue streams and cost structure are not applicable to your solution or a bit too difficult to go into, just do your best to go in at high level. I strongly suggest that all of you guys take a stab at filling in the whole canvas, but really focus on drilling in the details and that specificity, I guess, in this blue section here, Purnima.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyone else have any questions? We'll be giving the details that I showed up on the slide of how the rounds will work and the things that are required for you guys to present in an email after this workshop. But how are we feeling comfortable? Are we a bit nervous? What's the scene right now?
Just a quick question. When are those rounds going to be?
We are going to be doing those in the workshop next week. So next Tuesday, we'll be using that time with the pivot coaches. They will be in the session and we'll use the 2 hours like that for you guys to really get refinement on your solutions.
Sounds good. I think it's a really good thing to do. I don't know if personally I don't think I would be nervous just because I know that they would be giving constructive criticism on purpose. So it'll just be good for us, I guess.
And it's sort of like a mini sort of way to, yeah, you know, in your personal lives, or if if you decide to start a side hustle and stuff, at least you guys have a flavor of what the process would be like, or the certain things that that are required to think about when you really want to implement an idea. Like in the real world, these would be fleshed in a lot more detail, like, in terms of cost structure, revenue streams, blah, blah, blah. So it's just handy to know also outside of work too, of, if you ever did come up with an idea and decided to be the next CEO of something cool, you now know what you need to do.
We'll just go on Shark Tank.
And quite honestly, we see this being used, maybe not this one in particular, this co-creation canvas, because we kind of put it together for Smart Seeds, but the business model canvas, we see being used a lot, especially when it comes to business case proposals or kind of new project, new endeavor proposals that need to be kind of signed off or approved, communicated really quickly to like internal layers first of process teams before then it gets kind of evaluated more, and then you create a bigger deck with more detail and more stakeholders, etc. But we see that in our complex world, people are requiring simplicity and being succinct really quickly. So they want to see it all on one page, and it helps you to articulate what it is about your idea or your solution that is different, that is standout, that is, I suppose, worthy of further investment and time and resources, to then also attract in different kind of investors and helpers from there as well.
My suggestion with this canvas, guys, am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, my suggestion with this canvas, guys, is really put your key points here, and whether it's through a script, like I personally like to have some script with me on Word or something, but figure out your key data points to put on this canvas. I wouldn't suggest writing slabs of text. I mean, it's tempting to, but just try to be, I follow the KISS principle, like keep it simple, stupid, like don't use too much technical language, keep it easy to the reader. What are you really trying to say? Avoid being superfluous where you can, and just kind of put the main points and speak to them, because it's not a presentation paper. You're presenting your idea to the pitchers, to your coaches. So however you do that in an engaging way, if you can talk to something a lot better than you can type it, feel free to talk to it. If you want to use images and talk to those images with key data points, you can also do that. Don't feel like text is your only medium to sort of fill out this canvas.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'd say also potentially within your team, if you're meeting between now and next pivot workshop, that would be a good idea. Even if you do decide who might be your key speakers, will you, will one person talk about the challenge and the key insight, another person talk about the solution, or will one person just kind of talk the whole way through for round one, and then another person talk the whole way through for round two? So that might be some detail to just like, it seems kind of like a small detail, but it's good to have so that you maximize your 20 or so minutes with each of your pivot coaches. Coolies.
Well, if no one has any further questions or concerns or anything else, I'm happy to sit and chat with you guys for an extra 3 minutes. But if not, I will give you 3 minutes back to have a cup of tea and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks everyone for your time. As we mentioned, we're here if you guys need any support or assistance, as well as your alumni and challenge champions. So please, we know that next workshop's a big one, so feel free to reach out if you need.
Thanks, Kay and Radhika.
Thanks, Neen.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kay.
Cheers.